Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Skate Story. I play on the PS5, it's also available on the PC. Oh man, how do you get into the story like this? So you play as a demon in hell who makes a contract with the devil to eat the moons in hell, yes, plural, and yes, eat. Because apparently the moons are kind of like a torture device in hell and keep the demons and the devil and all those people suppressed in hell in some sort of way. But part of the contract is you become made out of glass and you have to skateboard to accomplish your goal. And boy, does the story just keep getting weirder. Like, if that's weird to you, which it is weird, the story just keeps getting weirder and weirder and weirder. And like, your objectives in the different levels are weird. It's a weird ass game and story, and it gets into some interesting ideas, especially the further you get. And I gotta say, it was fun and ridiculous and far deeper than I was expecting, and just so much more than I was expecting. But let's get into the audio. And the first thing I'm going to address is the music, which I'm very 50-50 on. There are some like free roamish areas, and the music there, it's good ambient music, but it's also ambient music, if you get what I mean. Like, it is very lo-fi, and it honestly made me drowsy at times. But then there are these missions where you're basically, very linear. And the music there is sick as fuck, and I loved it. So very 50-50 there. Not really much going on in the voiceover element. There are some noises rather than voices. A lot of text to read, which I was fine with. Then when you've got the sound effects, they're not like dead on accurate, but they are very much skateboarding sound effects, almost cartoony. Then there's the sound effects of the areas you're in and all of that going on. And there's the glass shattering sound effect every time you crash. And I do like the sound effects. I think they work very well in this very unique experience. Which, let's get into the gameplay mechanics and whatnot, and this is a very unique experience. It is a very story-driven skateboarding game where you do have an objective, and there are boss fights. It's wild. It's hard to go through what all it is. There are, like I mentioned earlier, these linear sections where sometimes you'll have to trick, sometimes it's kind of like an obstacle course, other times it's a race. Then there are the more open world-ish areas where you have objectives. Not like traditional objectives, like you're thinking Tony Hawk game, not like those, but they'll involve doing tricks, learning new tricks, doing scores, battling enemies via skateboarding, and stomping tricks is how you damage them, and they actually had an okay variety of tricks. I thought it was interesting. It's not as in-depth as other games out there when it comes to the tricks, but the further you go, the more tricks you learn, although I admittedly started experimenting early on and unlocking or essentially figuring out some of the tricks. But as I mentioned, you are made of glass and you can shatter, which is kind of your death. So you do actually have to be kind of careful because you can run into certain items that will just instantly shatter you. But beyond that, then you have collectibles, you have different skateboards you can find in the different levels. Although I really only found one design that I admittedly loved and I stuck to it. But you can customize your board, you can put stickers on your board, you can buy new wheels, trucks, boards, etc. But it really is, at the end of the day, a story game where you skateboard instead of like a first-person shooter where you shoot things. This you are skateboarding. But the missions are weird. There are gameplay mechanics that are just kind of strange, but they fit in this weird alternate hell, or envisioning of hell, I guess you would call it. But let's get on to the controls. And the controls are very interesting because they're nothing like any skateboarding game I have played previously. It's not like Skate, it's not like Tony Hawk. You mostly use the shoulder buttons to essentially position your character's feet, and then you'll hit O to ollie, and then he'll do the trick. Which I thought was actually a cool and unique thing, and if you press the left bumper once, you'll do a shove it. If you press it twice, you'll do a 360, but then if you press it twice and then the right R2 button, there we go, you'll do like a tray flip. And if you do different combinations like that, you'll get different tricks, like a varial flip, a laser flip, things like that. You can nollie, you can grind. The grind, there's not a ton of control there, or at least I struggled getting different grinds going. It mattered more at the angle I was coming at than anything. If there is more depth to it, I didn't discover it. I'm not saying that that's not a possibility. I'm just saying I didn't discover it. But then let's move on to the graphics and visuals, and wow. This is just such a weird game from a visual standpoint. First off, again, you are made of glass. That is a unique element. but then just every element of the design is very unique. The visual style of this game is so extreme. Each layer of hell you go through has its own color theme and has some unique art styles and characters, but they all fit together very well in their own way. The tricks do look well animated, although there are a few animations that I found were like really fudged, but generally not the ones for actual tricks. But beyond that, it's hard to describe. Like, you really do need to just see what this game looks like to understand the visual style. Everything is kind of like the character designs are really cartoony and weird. They're not something you would expect out of Hell necessarily. A penguin that's a diamond dealer, a frog that runs like a cafe, a pillow creature that runs a laundromat, things like that. I will say though that I did like when, I'll call them more action-oriented sequences were going on. There was a lot of excitement. They made it feel very intense. There are almost enemies essentially in the game, and their design is unique and weird, and it's just hard to describe the experience, and the visual nature of this game is anything other but incredibly unique and incredibly strange. I'm gonna get into the wrap up because it's not a long game, and it's a very strange game, and it's a very hard to describe game. But I've gotta say, the story was really engaging for me. It was very interesting, though the writing is quite odd. But also visually, it pulled me in with how unique the visuals are, and they do stand out to me and make me just go, wow. I found the skateboarding elements fun. Early on in the game, I really just kind of got lost screwing around and skateboarding, and probably could have beaten the game much earlier than I did, but I was engrossed in just having fun with that in this weird world. Now, I'm comfortable recommending it if you've seen any videos of it. If anything I have said interests you, I think you would really like this. But at the same time, it is such a strange experience that if somebody sat there and went, I can't get into this, it's too fucking weird for me, I could very comfortably say I would understand that. But for me, and if you have tastes like me, then I think you could actually really enjoy this experience. It's not crazy expensive, and it's worth the time. Okay, so in the comments down below, why don't you tell me what's the strangest experimental game you've ever played? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one.